MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, Dr. Hashim, Sister Aminata. Um, as you can see, there's so many different ways that people can be benefited from a project like this. It's not just if your kids are enrolled here that you'll benefit, but partnering with other organizations, bringing community services in one central location, and inshallah, meeting the needs of so many different members of the community. So if you like what you see so far, if you've liked, what was shared with you, please go to cordobaacademy.org, donate. We have a pledge form there. And also remember that inshallah ta'ala, this coming Saturday, March 6th, from 1 to 4 p.m., we are having an open tour of the new facility. So please bring your families. Please, tell other people. And inshallah, it'd be great for you to come and see what we're trying to accomplish. Now, mashallah, we have a very, very special guest from Southern California, Sheikh Nomaan Baig, who is the director and founder of the Institute of Knowledge. And mashallah, Sheikh Nomaan has just been a great inspiration for us, for me personally. To see what he has accomplished has just been something that's motivated us. And without further ado, inshallah, I wanted to give it over to Sheikh Nomaan to say a few words. Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord and cherisher of the entire universe, and may his peace and salutations be upon our noble prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his wives, his children, his companions, and whomsoever follows all of them in righteousness till the day of judgment to come. Once again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you all. And my sincere salutations to the entire North Seattle community, the greater Seattle community. I have an affinity to Seattle in general, but especially to the brothers in the North Seattle area, especially Brother Faisal and his team. I'll share that with you and what's the source of that mutual love that we have and appreciation with one another. As you heard, we're with a humble institution down here in Southern California, in Los Angeles County, in an eastern suburb called Diamond Bar. And our institution is called the Institute of Knowledge, IOK. And I was requested by Brother Faisal to just speak about our humble beginnings and share a few words as to how we got started and how things organically grew into what has now become an institution that is serving not just the eastern suburbs of Diamond Bar of Los Angeles, but the entire region of Southern California and beyond. So, we just completed 22 years of service here at IOK. And when I was listening to Sheikh Umair speak a little earlier, and Hafiz Adnan, and the PowerPoint presentation, and all the speakers that have spoken before, there's a lot of similarity as to where you guys are and where you started from and where we were back in the spring of 1998. We started from my living room. And, I had come back from overseas after studying for 8-9 years, went from here, Southern California, to Pakistan, and then came back. And then, college-age kid pursuing his college education here in the colleges locally. And then at the same time, starting to teach. And what were you teaching? We were teaching the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were teaching the Qa'idah, the Arabic reader. We were teaching the Mabadi al-Ulum, the beginner lessons of the Fara'id of Deen, the obligatory that each and every child should know. And we were teaching and started from in my living room in an after-school program. And then slowly, we organically started to grow. And then, I used to travel professionally because I used to be a consultant back in the day. And then we started having a weekend program for the youth where I would stay with the youth of our community from Friday all the way to Sunday. Then on Monday, I'd catch a plane and then be at different cities across the US, consulting and what have you. And slowly, we kept on growing. Again, the program was more meant to be for students to learn their deen, because they were already getting an excellent academic education at that time at their respective public schools and other programs that were around. And then slowly and surely in 2001, we felt the need to have a full-time institution. We felt the need that the students needed to be immersed in a full-time environment where they could get the best of both worlds. And when Sheikh Umair was speaking, I mean, he was taking words from my memory back in, the late 90s and early 2000s. And this was the exact concern that we had. How could we give our students a wholesome, holistic educational experience? And when Sheikh Umair was speaking about the integration of contemporary education with our pristine Islamic educational tradition and heritage that we have, we came up with that same idea, of how to pioneer an integrated educational system. And that's what we did at IOK. We, in the words of one of the luminaries of Islam, Sheikh Abul Hassan Ali Nadwi, rahimahullah, when he was asked about knowledge and education going forward for the future, he said that education going forward should be what they call a tazweej or a takhlit or a tajmi' or a tadmij بين القديم الصالح والجديد النافع. It's integrating the pristine, timeless tradition that we have of ilm, right? Of قال Allah and قال Rasul, and marrying it with the contemporary beneficial education of today, right? I was hearing all the speakers speaking, and it is absolutely imperative that our children get the best of an academic contemporary education. At no cost should we be giving them any less, right? But on top of that, what we should be providing, and what Cordoba is providing and is striving to provide even more of, is that education that nurtures the soul, that education that provides the tarbiyah, right? It's ta'aleem and tarbiyah, education and ethics, education and morals, education and building character building, right? So that's what's needed. And I think this is a very noble effort that they're doing in Cordoba. And when we were doing our effort here in Southern California, we went full-time in 2001, and then slowly but surely we kept on pursuing. We worked out of our homes, we worked out of the local masjids, like you guys were working out of. I think it was Masjid Umar Farooq at one time as well. We were working out of local masjids here as well. We were working out of warehouses. We slowly but surely, we organically continued to grow. And along the way, what we never gave up was continuing to provide the services. We didn't let space prevent us from providing the best education and experience we can to our children. We didn't let the lack of resources. We exhausted ourselves. We applied ourselves, we sacrificed ourselves, because we knew that if we continue to do and fulfill the need of the hour, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, and He will help us grow into a bigger space, right? And fulfill our needs and our ambitions, and make sure that we can give our students the space that they require so direly to be able to excel in an environment where they can receive an education and good morals and ethics at the same time. So, alhamdulillah, slowly but surely in 2006, we bought this land, and then we started doing construction. And this is where we got in touch with different communities across Southern California. And I had to go out and I remember when we started constructing IOK back in 2008, then we started doing our construction. Um, the economy was really tough here around the world and in the US, everywhere in Southern California. So what we really needed to do was get out and start fundraising in different cities. And that's what brought me to Seattle back in 2010-11 when I met this group of brothers in Seattle. And I told them at that time that, hey, we're doing this project in Southern California, but slowly but surely, inshallah, our effort, if you support us for our cause in Southern California, there will come a time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show the fruits of your support for our effort there in Seattle as well. And hearing about what Cordoba Academy is doing, I think it's imperative that you guys have an opportunity in front of you at this moment. And the opportunity is to seize the purchase of this property. You have a turnkey opportunity to buy a facility that will not only provide for the students who are currently attending now, but it will also allow you to expand. And slowly but surely, and I told this to Brother Faisal and Sheikh Omer when they visited me a few years ago in Southern California, that this is just the beginning, right? Your vision is not limited to just being a K-5 or elementary grade school. No, just like us, we added an elementary school, then we added a middle school, then we added a high school. Then after that, we started adding a full-time seminary, a part-time seminary. And then on top of that, we were also doing many other things, right? These children, as they continue to grow, they will have needs. Their needs increase. So what we did is that after we established the elementary, middle, high school, then we established a full-time seminary. Why? Because we wanted to make sure that their Islamic learning continues. Because what you can provide for them in the school is great for them to be upright Muslims, but what they really need beyond that is to be able to teach others who will come after them. And they need to know enough to be able to sustain the environment around them, right? And that's how we kept on growing. And then slowly but surely what happened is after we established the seminary, what we did is we didn't deprive our students from getting a professional education at the local universities as well. So when these students who were once in our elementary school, then went to our middle school, and then went to our high school, and then joined our seminary, they would study with us in the AM part of the day, and then the afternoons and evenings, they would go to the best regional universities you have here in Southern California, the UCLAs, the UC Irvines, the UC Riversides, the USCs, and seek a professional education at the same time. But they would still be in the company of the people of knowledge. And that was the most important thing to us, making sure that they were connected. And what we did later was, after we established the seminary, we said, you know what? They came to us and they said, Sheikh, we're getting this knowledge here at IOK during the day, and then we're going to our universities and colleges by the afternoons and evenings, and there are students around us in our environment that we're helping, but we need your presence there as well. And what did that do? That helped us start the IOK chaplaincy initiative, where we started serving campuses, all 8 major universities here in Southern California, by having our seminary staff go to the local universities and colleges in Southern California and spend 15 to 20 to 25 hours a week with students on campus, helping them, guiding them, mentoring them, right? Conveying to them the knowledge of Deen, spending time with them, and spending time in fellowship with them. Now, why am I mentioning all this? The reason I'm mentioning all this is that never did we believe that our small institution that started from a living room would organically grow to meet not only the demands of our own students, but the demands of the entire region, right? And we kept on growing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started giving us opportunities to serve more and more. and to provide services that were not being provided by anybody else. So what you see today as a humble effort that started from the masjid and went to the home of a brother now has an opportunity to have a home of itself, where not only do you have a street address, but you have an actual APN number, that this is going to be the home of Cordoba Academy from not just now, but till the Day of Judgment. This is going to be the place of knowledge. Al-ilmu nur. This is going to be the place of enlightenment, where people get guidance. This is where we will produce better versions of ourselves, right? One thing that we strove for at IOK was, and Sheikh Omer can relate to this, and his parents can speak to this, just like my mother, may Allah have mercy on her soul. You know, I studied overseas, and I was separated from my mother, who was a single parent since I was 3 years old, for 8 to 9 years. You know, we would just come for a little bit and spend time and go back. So our mother and my mother gave the ultimate sacrifice. It wasn't easy. Now you have an opportunity here in Seattle where you don't need to send your students and your children overseas or to another state or city. You have an opportunity to establish an institution of knowledge, an institution of ilm right there in Seattle, an institution that is not just about imparting education, but is about character development. But it's about just preparing and producing and developing and nurturing better versions of yourselves, right? This is what we aspire to do as parents, right? When I started IOK from my living room, I had no kids of my own. I wasn't even married, right? So people ask me, why am I doing this, right? And here's the value proposition, right? People ask me, why am I doing this? And I told them that this is what we were trained to do. This is what we were advised to do. This was the desire of my mother. This was the desire of my teachers, that we are a community of learning. We seek knowledge and we teach knowledge. We seek knowledge, we learn knowledge, and then we teach it forward. And this is what was demanded of us, right? And this is what we did. Never did we thought that in our wildest of dreams that we would become an institution this big. We're a 5-story building. We have this property. We have the neighboring property. We have a student body, you know, just like you guys. You know, I was hearing this. You have a full-time school, an after school, a Saturday school, a Sunday school. We have all of that. We have a seminary, a part-time seminary. We have a chaplaincy. And now we're also providing mental health services and counseling services to our students and community members and what have you. So you guys have this opportunity. Coming back to that value proposition, I had a little lapse there in thinking. So, and this is the proposition I want to tell you about. You know, I believed that even though that when we started, I wasn't even married, let alone having children of my own, I thought that if I have concern within me for the children of others, if I have concern within me for the children of others, then and only then my children will be preserved and protected, and they will be upon Iman, right? This is why we are a community of learning. Each one of you should not only be concerned for your own children, but you should be concerned about the children of other people, because it's our children, your children, and everyone's children together that will make this community a community of learning, right? You know, I know Brother Faisal touched upon this. There's different types of schools out there. You know, you've got home schools, private schools, public schools, and then you have Islamic schools, right? And in Islamic school, our children have the opportunity to not only learn from, you know, genuine people of faith, right? People who remind our children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people who remind our children of the Sahaba, people who remind, you know, the female teachers that you have. They remind our children of the mothers of the believers, and they will learn from them, and they will learn from one another, because we're a community of learning. And sometimes you will they will learn wrong things from one another, but those will become learning and teaching moments for our children. So you have this beautiful opportunity, $1.55 million for a 7,000 square foot plus turnkey building that gives you 5 spacious classrooms and other conference rooms and offices, a playground, 35 plus parking spaces. And, you know, mashallah, many of you work at Microsoft. Many of you work at different companies. You guys all have these stock. I don't know if it was discussed, and I think you guys should talk about this. All you guys up there, all tech guys that are working there, you guys, I'm sure, hold on to a lot of stock as well. Donate your stock to Cordova Academy. And there's much more tax benefits in donating stock as well. So if you can, not only just give your check, cash, and credit card donations, give your stock as well, you know, and see the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always replace. And I'm going to end with this, and I want everybody to pay attention to this. And a wise man taught me this. He told me that the giver is the taker and the taker is the giver. The giver is the taker and the taker is the giver. And I asked him, what do you mean by this? And he said, Sheikh, I am giving to you so my children can take from you later on. My children and grandchildren can take from you. He said, I am giving to you as an institution so my children and grandchildren can take from you. And he is saying to me that you are taking from us so you can give back to the community, right? A community of learning. And you're only giving here today so you can take back. And you never know which type of sadaqah, which type of charity will be a means for it to be a shield for you and me on the day of judgment from the fire of hell. Which dollar that we spend will be the means for my child and your child's preservance in this life with Iman, right? There is nothing more important, my dear brothers and sisters, than the Iman of our children, right? Remember, I was doing this when I wasn't even married or had any children of my own. And the aspiration was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect my children by this effort. And your team over there, you know, I've known Brother Faisal for a long time now. And, you know, Sheikh Omer was still a student at that time when I visited Seattle. I mean, these are genuine people. You know, but from what I know and what I see, and I told them that, look, I've been really busy and I can't give a recorded message. Just put me on live and I'll say a few words. And hopefully my words can touch a few hearts. And then those words can penetrate through the hearts down to your pockets. And you can open up what Allah has bestowed you with. Just remember, whatever you have, there's a lot more of it from where it came from. Whatever Allah has blessed you with, there's a lot more of it from where it came from. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replenish it, will replace it, will double it. But don't let this opportunity pass. Don't give up on this opportunity. Seize the opportunity. Give from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with. Give knowing that you will take from this institution. And give knowing that this institution is taking from you only so it can give back to you. So I really appreciate this opportunity, Faisal and Sheikh Omer and the entire team. I know Sheikh Fadl is going to bat right after me. And, you know, I was looking at your scholarly board that you have and board of advisors, you know, Mufti Saeed, you have Sheikh Fadl there, mashallah. You know, Sheikh Qasim is not too far away. You know, this is the best I could do right now for you, Brother Faisal and Sheikh Omer. But even if I have to come up there, and I know you guys came down here a couple of times and you wanted to actualize and see what was it that you were supporting back in 2010, 11 when I was visiting Seattle. And now you see it. It's manifested itself into an institution that is thriving, the ingredients of which is sincerity and steadfastness, right? That's what we remind ourselves of. And I think, inshallah, thumma inshallah, I see you brothers as being sincere and steadfast in seeking Allah's bounty. I see you all being concerned for each other's children, right? And the children of the entire community. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may He preserve you all with iman. May He help you achieve this goal. And, I lost both of my parents, and in their name, inshallah, I'm going to be donating $1,000 towards this cause as well as a sadaqah jariyah for them. If you have deceased parents, please donate on their behalf. Your grandparents, invest for your future. This is education. Education is the utmost important thing. It's the cornerstone. It's what the prophets left behind as their legacy. وَإِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمِ. Right? The prophets left behind knowledge. Seeking that knowledge, learning that knowledge, teaching that knowledge, conveying that knowledge. This is what Cordoba Academy seeks to do. I wish you all the best. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm sure I've gone over. I'm not a good tracker of time, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all, help you achieve this goal and exceed the goal. Not only, inshallah, you get the 700,000, but you inch much, much closer to the 1.55 million. Inshallah, you have my contribution as a drop in that bucket. Barakallahu feekum.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh Nomaan. It's been so inspiring. MashaAllah, when our leaders are stepping forward and, supporting these causes, then, it should really inspire us all. And, there are so many things that, over the years, I've been humbled to meet people like Shaykh Nomaan and other scholars who have spoken today and who are not, speaking today. And honestly, like growing up in America and struggling sometimes with what's the right path and what's the straight path. One of the most beautiful advices that Shaykh Nomaan gave me was that, Islam is a path. It's not a line. Right. And oftentimes it's hard for us as young Muslims, especially in America, to understand, like, if we step over that line a little bit, that we might think that we're doing something wrong. But to understand and learn from our scholars, from our elders, that there's a path. And as long as we stay on that path, if we waver a little bit here and there, we can still stay on that path. And mashallah, there's just so much to learn. And mashallah, if you have an opportunity, anybody, if you're in the Los Angeles area, go to IOK. A lot of people go to Southern California, go to Disneyland, Universal Studios. I go there. I just go make sure I stop at IOK and pray or just see it. It's just, mashallah, an inspiration. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept you, Shaykh, accept all of our scholars, and inshallah open up the path for us to follow in the footsteps of great organizations and educational efforts like this.